Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? Well, I suppose I'll just be continuing on talks about my holiday, because why not? But whenever you do something, well, I shouldn't say whenever you do something. Whenever I do something, I'm just like, you know what? This is going to make perfect fuel for conversational topics for basically the next whatever many large period of time, to be honest. And you know me, and I'm at conversations for their worth, I suppose, in Animal Crossing, because why not? There's only so many conversations in the world. Eventually we're going to run out. Maybe. Anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow at 6:05 p.m. on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. We're visiting up campsite. I think it's going to be Barbara. I don't know if I've ever been correct. Well, actually, no. I think the closest I was to being correct was one of the times I was going to predict something, but then I didn't say it out loud, and then it was that person. So you might be like, that doesn't really count. And yeah, I agree, that doesn't really count. So, but in my head, I was like, I can't believe it. I predicted it right. I think it was Raymond's one or something, wasn't it? Maybe, I don't know. I think I said it in the video. Anyway, that was so long ago. Who cares about that anymore? Long gone are the days of rotating Fawnhollow villages. Now these are permanent villages here to stay. So yeah, what we're going to talk about today. So I sort of talked about staying in a caravan yesterday, kind of, not really. I ended up just most of the time just sort of being like, I can't believe Charlotte House isn't the actual word, and it's actually Chalet House just this entire time. Just with my mother's accent, I suppose. Or misreading of chalet. And I thought it was Charlotte House this entire time. But no, we're done past campsites. Let's start talking about, what can we talk about? Why don't we just go chronologically through my trip? So I started out in Barcelona. That's where we landed. That's where we actually didn't stay in a caravan for a few days. We actually just stayed in a hotel. And I don't even know what to talk about necessarily. You know what I can talk about is it's one of the things that Barcelona is known for. Actually, so many different things to talk about. Oh my god, I'm actually like my head is now flooded with now things to talk about. So I guess I'll talk about, this is where I suppose I should go into my photo album, so I can actually just remind myself of things that happen chronologically, so I know I don't not overstep my boundaries. That's a bit much, but like I don't end up repeating conversations which I don't mean to. Why has this got activity in it? I don't really know, but time for takeoff. Let's see. You know what? It's got to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time for me to realize what I want to talk about exactly. Let's see. Here are the docks. That's not really stuff to talk about. Aquariums. I feel like I've spoken about aquariums quite a lot before in the past. Well, we went to an aquarium. Oh, this is actually interesting to talk about. Is we went to go see one of the football matches, or soccer matches, I suppose, if you're American, that happened in Barcelona, because one of my friends, he likes football. He's not like a crazed football head, I would say, but he's not like a hooligan or anything, but he does, support a team. I think it was Manchester United, if I recall, and, he knows the football players, so, he has at least an interest in football, shall I say. I don't know why I'm saying it so like cryptically, and it's not meant to be that case. I'm not trying to like disregard his passion for it. I just I don't know necessarily that much of extent of it, apart from he supports the team. And if you know me, I basically know essentially nothing about football. I know the rules of football. I know no one who's playing right now. Even after my friend told me some players, I've legitimately forgot all of them, I think. But yeah, and you might find out it's a bit strange, because if you don't know, I'm British. I live in England, and football is basically the national sport here, essentially. It's so insanely popular. It's popular, throughout secondary school for all kids, adults and whatever have you. And I'm just here sort of being like, I know essentially nothing about it. I don't support a team. I've not really watched it. Actually, I have seen 2 games before, and I think I've spoken about those stories before, so we're not going to speak about them again. TLDR, I went to see them. I don't know why I was so insistent on wanting to see them. I thought, it would make me like football, but when I was sort of like wholly indifferent about the entire thing, I should have definitely let my father go instead of my stead, because he actually likes football. So I don't know why I did that, but it's a sacrifices I suppose parents make for children, because to be fair, I was like 10 or 9 or something. I don't know why I was so insistent, but it's a sacrifices I suppose you make for children, or whatever have you. Granted, if I was my own parent, I suppose at the time I'd be like, are you sure you want to go to that second one? Dear darling, you don't really like football. Why don't we do XYZ instead? and then, you know, pose that as an alternative of something I actually genuinely do like, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds way more fun than going to a football match. I was even ill on the second time around, so I don't even know why I went. Anyway. So yeah, we went to see one of the football matches. I believe it was Barcelona versus Valencia. That sounds about right. I don't really know. I mean, you can look up a football match. I mean, if you're very insistent, you can try and like scan the crowd and maybe you'll see me there. I'm not going to tell you who I am, obviously, for very obvious reasons. But if you really like football and you were like, oh, I like saw that match on TV as well, you know, I know that was a really good match at X, Y, Z. It was interesting because but the other times I've been to a football stadium was in like a box. And you might be like, wow, that's like incredibly insane. Like you went to like a box, and it was because it was like with my mother's company or something. I don't think they do it anymore, but I don't know. There was some sort of partnership. I'm sure that was going on there. But this is the first time I was actually just sort of sitting in the stands of a big stadium. I think might be the first time I was sitting in the stands of like any sort of big stadium event. I don't. Who are you? You're on a Happy in Paradise. You are. Oh, I keep wanting to say Sid. You're not Sid. Sid's the elephant. You're Spike, aren't you? Yes, there you go. Like the dragon from My Little Pony, except for, you know, you don't look anything like him. Yeah, I think it might have been the first time I ever sat like in a stadium to watch any sort of event, to be honest. Not because, yeah, like I don't really watch sporting events or anything like that. I don't really go to music concerts or anything like that, which are like the two major things which happen in those sort of things. And I haven't been to any of the super popular events which like take place in stadiums are genuinely popular enough that I probably did not even try to get tickets. I definitely should have probably got Olympic tickets or something when it was here in London back in 2012, but oh well, you know, again, I don't really watch sports, so, you know, not really much motivation there in the first place. But it was a cool feeling, I would say, you know. The sensation, I suppose, of looking out over, like, I say this all the time, but other people's passion for things, is like I get secondhand passion. I get secondhand passion more than I get firsthand passion about things, which is, you know, quite a weird sort of disconnect, but still. Sorry, just a sip of water. I'm a bit thirsty. It was pretty cool sitting in a stadium and looking out over like thousands of people who gathered to basically support their favourite team in their hometown, being like, yeah, and cheering and whatnot, have you. At the time, to be fair, I was actually quite tired because that was the first day we landed, and we had a super early flight. So like we landed, you know, we woke up like 3 a.m. to go catch our flight, which was, you know, quite early. And I was a little bit sleep deprived because I was just not sleeping so well in the lead up to it, because I was doing a lot of stuff, you know, both of a YouTube channel, both for my own work and other stuff, like taking care of things before the holiday, so, you know, I was a bit sleep deprived. I ended up I did not mean to click this, but we haven't done this for ages, you know, why not? Let's see how good friends we are with Fauna. But it's the sort of thing where like I forgot what I was gonna say. I legit forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so I ended up sort of sleeping through most of it. Like I wouldn't say it's like full on sleeping. I am someone who can basically kind of sleep anywhere, but it was more like dozing, is perhaps the way to put it, or as like a light sleep. So we were like sitting in the stands. We were pretty high up, not the highest tier up, but like middle tier. So we were like somewhat close to the action. The most annoying thing I think is the fact that we were sitting in the direct sunlight for the entire time, and and it's what on earth is this? I never really thought about this, but it seems like very invasive, I think, peering into your mind and seeing like how good friends we are. But anyway, I understand the need for it in the context of a video game. But anyway, we're here to get a blessing, Katrina. Oh, we can't. Okay, well, I genuinely forgot that if you get that blessing, you also can't get the normal blessing, so much of that. With the biggest problem I found is that we were sitting in direct sunlight, I suppose, for the entirety of a match. Now, a football match is like, if you don't know, it's like over 90 minutes. It probably takes about 2 hours, so 2 hours in direct sunlight, not great, especially for your skin. I do tan instead of burning most of the time, unless I'm in direct sunlight for a really long time. But mostly I tan. So, 2 hours in direct sunlight, probably I would be fine, to be perfectly honest. But it's not great, I like to keep my skin, nice, even if tanning and burning aside, UV rays are still quite damaging for your skin, increase the rate of skin cancer and all that. So I can only recommend to you that if you don't wear sunscreen, please start wearing sunscreen. It's still important. No matter if you're not the type of person to burn or if you're the type of person to just tan in the sun. So I ended up, basically what I was doing, I just put my coat over my head and basically looked like a hooded monstrosity, I suppose, for the entirety of the match while I watched what was going on. It was kind of cool, I would say, It's basically, the sort of sensation I got from watching it was like, this would be really cool if I, appreciated football more. If I was, more into football or that sort of thing. Which I'm sure my friends had a similar, I like those threads. A similar sort of feeling for other things, which I was like, wow, this is amazing. They'd probably be like, yeah, this would be pretty cool if I appreciated the thing as much as you did. So basically, long short, was it was a cool experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was weird, and I suppose in certain degrees, looking and being like, I don't know who any of these players are. I didn't tell my friends this, but literally for the first 30 minutes of the game, I didn't know which side was which. I couldn't figure out where to look, on the pitch and the stadium to figure out who was kicking off. And obviously, I had no idea what Barcelona or Valencia's uniforms look like. I have no idea about any of the people, and I don't speak Spanish, so the announcer, I didn't really understand what was going on. So I was looking at the pitch and being like, I don't know who's doing what, to be honest. And then eventually I figured it out, I think. I think I might have figured out because, spoilers, I suppose, for that matches, Barcelona scored. They ended up winning 1-0, I believe, against Valencia. Or maybe I still got it wrong to this day, I don't know. But it was an interesting experience. It's a sort of experience where, looking back on it, I like it more than... In the moment, I was like, this is sort of 2 hours of me watching something I don't really know much about, and I'm not sure if I'm super invested in. But it was kind of cool, looking back on it, because when, looking back on it, I don't have to think about sitting through 2 hours of something I'm like... not that invested in. I can just think about the highlights and be like, wow, it was a cool experience. It was an interesting thing, going to the stadium, seeing how many people basically were walking from the train station to the stadium, just a massive blob, I suppose, in a huge mass or whatever. And approaching the stadium, everyone's getting pretty fired up, passing people selling beer on the streets, getting through security, checking bags and that sort of thing. It's the same sort of dealio why I like airports, I suppose, that sort of the system which goes on, I suppose, and ends up invoking sort of memories. So I was like, I guess these are kind of adjacent memories to that, despite the fact I haven't really gone to any of these events. Yeah, but looking out on the football pitch, it was kind of cool. It was, it's fun to watch them, I suppose, play, even if I don't super know what's going on. I don't really remember much of what happened. The only notable things I super remember happening is about the goal, of course, and there was this moment where one of the players did a sort of pirouette, not pirouette, what's it called, the padded something, the ballerina leap, where you sort of do the front splits to kick a ball or kick it out or something like that. I don't know, maybe I made that up in a fever dream or something, but it's pretty cool. It was also, I ended up watching the people in the audience a lot more than I ended up actually watching the match, because, as I said, I don't really know what's going on in the match, but people, I do know about people, obviously. But there was this front row section where it was basically all these super, super big fans, I assume, are there. I assume they've got to be super big fans because those tickets were probably hundreds of pounds, I'd imagine. And then, there was 20 or so people just waving these massive flags. I assume hired by the actual stadium people themselves, or the teams themselves. I don't really know, to be honest, but the massive sort of rally flags, the sort of things that you see in American TV shows that they have on what's it called, Pep Day or whatever, Cheer Day, I can't remember what it's called, Pep Rally, something like that. And I just sort of sat there watching them sort of wave it around for 20 minutes and being like, man, that arms must be dead. It's hard enough to wave anything around for 20 minutes continuously, but waving around a giant heavy pole which is waved at the end in a continuous pattern to keep the flag waving, I was like, man, that's insane. Anyway, there's always football chants as well, and there's actions that go along with it. They always started down there, and the rest of the stadium do them. But wasn't that Mexican wave, from what I can recall? I don't even know why it's called a Mexican wave now I think about it, but whatever. It's possible I might have slept through it. There's a lot of people just sitting in other people's random seats. I remember when we got there, we were going to sit in our seats, and there was 2 people in our seats, and they were like, oh, think we're in the wrong area. Fair enough, they probably were in the wrong section. And then like halfway through like the match, when I was actually properly like dozing, like I was like super sleepy, someone like just tapped me on the shoulder. It was like, I think you're in my seats and in our seats. And I was like, I don't think so. Obviously, language barrier. They didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish. And they showed me their ticket, and I was like, oh, you're on the wrong box. So I kept pointing at the box, being like, you have the wrong box. Thankfully, the people behind us understood like what was going on and started speaking in Spanish, being like, oh, you want the box over there or whatever. And by box, I mean like section of the stadium or whatever. And they were like, oh, I see. I don't know why they came into the stadium like half an hour like through the match. I mean, maybe they found their seats normally beforehand, and then like during halftime they went to get refreshments and then got lost again. I don't really know, but that was an interesting experience. Anyway, I guess it was kind of cool. it was a neat experience. Is it something I would do by myself? No. Is it something I would do in my spare time? No, not really. Is it something I would do again? Only if my friends were like particularly insistent about it. Like if I went on another holiday, they were like, oh, we want to see like these people play. Then I'd be like, all right, sure, yeah, I'll tag along. I'm not gonna like stay at home like instead of just like being there and just like having a bit of fun. Why not? What is what I say. I don't know if we took a picture, but there you go. First picture of a new outfit. Sheesh, look at that drip. And then before you know it, like the game was over. Amazingly, when the game was over, I was like, oh, is it over? I thought it was like extra time. And then like my friends were like, the extra time just happened. It's now it's proper over. They won. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, woo, good job, Barcelona. Anyway, the most difficult part was actually getting home because, unsurprisingly, when we went to the train station, the nearest train station, to get a ride back to our hotel, it was packed. It was like, there were like 500 people down there. There was a queue outside to get into the stadium. It was surprisingly a very small, like, train station like area. Like there was only like 3 ticket machines, I think, which is insane because this is so close to like the biggest like football stadium I think in the entire city of Barcelona. You would have thought they'd like at least glam it up a little bit and make it a bit bigger, like expand it a little bit. It seems insane that they would keep it so tiny, especially with how much traffic they're probably going to get on like a weekly basis with the amount of football games that end up going on there. But I don't know, maybe it's not worth it. I don't know how the city infrastructure of Barcelona was made, but anyway, it was an absolute nightmare. Thankfully, one of my friends managed to get his way to the front and get some tickets. We got home. It was a bit much, I would say, but it was fine, it was an intense first day, I would say. Was that actually on the first day? Yeah, I think that was on the first day. We haven't done this stuff for ages as well. I can't even click buttons. Here we go. So, we haven't done exercises for ages, but why not? I suppose we should also talk to Kix and actually try and buy some of his stuff so we can actually we don't need to because I've got he's on the island, isn't he? No one on this planet is an island. Each one has a special part to play. Ocean commotion, everyone. I think I've talked about that before in a previous video. So what else can I really talk about the football game? I found it interesting that my friends, they got like refreshments from like, it's not a bar, but refreshment stall. Obviously insanely expensive, overpriced, and probably you're recommended to bring your own refreshments if you don't want to spend like triple like market price of like for a bottle of water. But what I found interesting is the fact that they didn't actually give any like plastic lids. Like my friends had like a Coke in a bottle or something, opened the Coke bottle and gave the bottle without a lid. And I'm just like, why would you not give the lid? Like, are you worried about litter? Like, I'm pretty sure if you're worried about litter, you should be much more concerned about the fact that people are probably going to be spilling this drink like crazy if you don't give them a lid. I don't really know why. I'm sure there must be a reason of some sort, and whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, I suppose, remains up to the fact of critical analysis. But it just felt a little bit strange. I was just like, why take away the lid? Anyway, I didn't have a drink. I brought some water, I think, which was enough to sate me, probably. I don't really remember, I'm going to be honest, with specific details, but I suppose those aren't really the important ones either. And it was kind of cool. As I say, it was a cool thing to look back on. At the time, I was probably like, man, I'm really tired. And I was like, I don't really know what's going on. But yeah, looking back, it was kind of cool. And it's fun to basically see everyone in the stadium. Like, I don't think beforehand I had like such a grand idea of like how big stadiums were, just like how many people were in it. It's huge. There's so many people. It is almost insane. But yeah, I don't know. football stadium. I guess that's what I'm going to call this episode. I don't really know. It's not really about a football stadium, I suppose. Football match. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to round this episode of here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope you can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.